Alright guys, today we're going to do the second part of our creative color wheels. Okay, here's one I was working on and I decided to kind of work on the edges. We'll come to that part a little bit later because our metal piece is going to go on top, and the cool thing is you could do it in different directions. You could even cut the metal if you wanted to make it a different size, but I'm going to probably do mine in this direction, more of a diamond where I turned it. Okay? But today we're just going to focus on the metal part. When you get the metal, you'll have, it has two sides. So it has a silver side and a gold side. There are some other ones out there, it might be a different color, but this is what I have for today. The first thing I want you to think about is what shape do you want to put onto it? Okay? So I want you to put a shape somewhere on your work, okay? Kind of the central focus of it. And this one here I was working on a little bit ago. I just decided to create a diamond in the middle or a square, and I added some textures and I broke it up into different spaces. You could do, like a heart shape. You could even do a block letter shape, which would be kind of neat. Maybe I'll try a block letter. So I'm going to do the diamond. So I'm going to have it like this. So this is pointing up. So you might want to practice a little bit because once you dent it, you can't erase it. It's in there. So I'm going to go a little bit lighter in the beginning just to make sure I have it to the correct size and the correct shape. So it's always good just to go a little bit lighter at first before really denting it in. So I'm going to do a V in the middle here. Okay. And then now I like it, so I'm going to go over it and I'm going to press it in. Okay. Be careful, it's a little smooth, likes to move around. My line kind of came off over here, so I'm just going to go over a little bit more to kind of straighten that out. And you got to use your muscles for this because it is a little bit harder to dent it in, but you got to do it 2 to 3 times to really get it to bend. So I'm just going around. Okay, being careful it doesn't slide all over. And then this one right here, and I press it in. That, and then over here. Okay? I'm going to go over that one more time because I really want this shape to stand out. Okay? Now after you do your shape, I want you to start thinking about how can you divide the rest of the area up. Okay? If you remember with our color wheel, we divided it up with different lines coming out from the center. I want you to do something similar to that, having lines that come out. Okay? So for mine, I'm just going to go ahead and draw lines that go to the corners. Okay? You could do something a little bit different if you'd like, but this will work, I think, for mine today. And you notice I'm working on a magazine today. The magazine helps make it soft underneath, so make sure you have a magazine underneath your metal. That'll help with pressing it into it. If you work on the table, it won't press in as much. It's hard to work with. Alright, so I divided it up. I did a block letter, my shape in the middle, and now I want to do some textures all throughout my work. Okay? The cool thing is you can actually do texturing on the back to push it out. So maybe I do just an X pattern throughout. Okay, I'm just going to go back and forth with X's, putting in a texture. And you get to invent your own textures today, figuring out what looks the coolest for your work, and just working with different types of line to create real textures. Textures that you can feel. Okay? So I'm just going to be working on this a little bit to kind of show you this neat texture that you might want to try in yours. Okay, so it's just X's. You could do T's, you could do even just a letter in there if you wanted to. Just a bunch of circles. Okay, so I'm just kind of pressing it down, using some pressure. Creates a really interesting texture to your work though. Okay, so I kind of like the gold side here. But I was going over it and it was pushing it out. Okay, so you can kind of work back and forth. Maybe right here I do circles. Just do a bunch of circles that push it the other way. There's all cool textures that you can create. Just keep it simple though. Simple and repeating it. Repetition. Okay. So I don't want to do the whole thing right here now. Here's some other ones that I was working on. I just did some lines, diagonals, some spirals, but you're going to fill up that area. Something else that you might want to do, you might want to take like a Sharpie marker if you want to kind of stain the metal. This would look cool because it adds just another layer of color to your work to get things to kind of stand out a little bit more. That marker's going bad, so maybe I do this marker here, see if that one works better. There we go. Some markers might work a little bit better on the metal, but you can stain it a little bit, but it does have to be a permanent marker when you work on top of the metal. Alright guys, can't wait to see what you come up with today.